I work in the product development team of a food company. Since developing food recipes is my business, there were many gourmets among my team members. We often talked about each other's food tastes, and this atmosphere led to a food tour near the company. A database was accumulated by evaluating restaurants near the company by various items, and the first place was Grandma's Handmade Rice Soup. Grandma's Handmade Rice Soup was a typical long-established restaurant, but something special. The menu was one beef soup commonly called jangtyeogukbap. Red chili oil floated in the soup made with mixed bones and lean meat, and there were several large pieces of beef from various parts of the country, such as brisket and avalanches. It is typical soup like well-cooked beef brisket, bean sprouts, radish and green onion as secondary ingredients. However, the taste was different from normal rice soup. The rich taste of the soup without being too thick, the chewy pieces of meat that seemed to have been cooked separately, and the unique freshness of the vegetables blended together gently enchanted all of our team members. In particular, Chief Shin of our team loved Grandma's handmade rice soup enough to call himself a gukbap fanatic. But one day an accident happened. Chief Shin, who had left work earlier than usual, was drinking soup and a cup of soju at Grandma's handmade rice soup. There was one finger at the bottom of the bowl of soup that had almost been eaten. The store was in an uproar and Mr. Shin spent several days on annual leave. After hearing the circumstances, it was said that the owner of a soup restaurant swung the knife wrongly and cut her finger while preparing beef. The son and his wife, who were helping the store work, rushed the boss to the hospital, and the remaining employees said they did business with soup cooked by the boss in advance. It is said that it seems that the boss's severed finger went into the soup pot without anyone noticing. After that day, Grandma's handmade rice soup went out of business. A few days later, Chief Shin returned to the company, but his complexion seemed to be not good. It was something I couldn't help it because I've been through something like that. The team members were worried about Chief Shin, but it was a difficult matter to offer consolation hastily. Time passed and the incident seemed to be forgotten. Chief Shin also enthusiastically worked on the development of the new menu, and the team members followed Chief Shin as usual. Chief Shin usually didn't mind working overtime when he started developing new menus, but this time he was serious about his work. It was normal to stay up all night at the company, and he always lived at the company regardless of whether it was a weekend or a holiday. The image of Chief Shin, who had trouble sleeping, was somewhere with madness. It was a day when only Chief Shin and I were in the office. Chief Shin tapped me on the shoulder and asked me to rate the new menu as it was finally completed. I passed through empty partitions and unlit hallways to the kitchen. While heading to the kitchen, Chief Shin didn't say a word. Something was creepy. Upon arriving at the kitchen, Mr. Shin explained the menu. Assistant Park, do you remember when I proposed a joint venture to the owner of Grandma's handmade rice soup? The boss said I don't know such a thing and politely declined. Even when I asked what the secret to the taste was, he just jokingly said, "It's message, but she didn't tell me." But after I ate soup that day, I felt like I knew the secret to its taste. It was the taste that comes from the fingers of a craftsman who has been making food for decades. Do you know how I realized that? The soup I ate that day was the most delicious. The day the finger came out. The taste was really the taste I wouldn't know even if one died. So I thought, it may not be as much as the boss, but aren't we also the ones who make food? Then wouldn't our fingers taste pretty good too? I've been experimenting with it. Come on, try it. Chief Shin recommended me to make red beef soup in a pot. I trembled and took a backward step. I didn't know before. A bandage was wrapped around Chief Shin's left hand, and the bandage was stained red. Assistant Park, what's wrong? Oh, is it because I didn't see the cooking process? Yes, our Assistant Park was an academic. I'll show you in detail, so come closer. First of all, I have to prepare the fingers, although this is a bit difficult, ha ha ha. Chief Shin removed the bandage on his left hand. My vision was blurry, so I could see dimly, but he seemed to have only 2 fingers. Chief Shin held the middle esophageal sword in his right hand and struck the rest of the fingers of his left hand. I passed out. Listening to the circumstances, it is said that Chief Shin suffered the tragedy of losing his mother due to a driving mistake. In the meantime, he even went through an incident where his fingers came out of the rice soup, so he must have been in a very unstable state mentally. He suffered from obsessive-compulsive disorder while thinking about driving mistakes caused by inexperienced fingers and rice soup with fingers. It is said that Chief Shin resigned. Rumor has it that he went down to his hometown and opened a soup restaurant. Due to the company's consideration, I took a few days of sick leave and ended up in the hospital. The hardest thing during hospitalization was meal. Hospital food was tasteless. It must have been tasteless because it was a food with minimal seasoning for recovery, but it was quite a struggle for a food development manager. While eating bland beef radish soup for lunch, I thought of Grandma's handmade rice soup. Actually, on the day that Mr. Shin found fingers in the earthen pot, I also had lunch at Grandma's handmade rice soup. As Chief Shin said, the soup of the day was really the best taste. It was the ultimate taste that is difficult to analyze. Hand taste. I looked at my hand holding a spoon. I scooped up a spoonful of soup, looked at my fingers, took another spoonful of rice, and looked at my fingers. Before I knew it, I kept looking at my fingers and licking my lips.